Good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, everyone. Jim, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and start us with a prayer. Jim, you're muted.
Okay. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay. Our Father in heaven, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for this opportunity that we can come and discuss the county's business. And Father, as we always do, we ask for your guidance and your wisdom when we do this. And we know that if we ask you, we'll give it to us. Father, we pray for this county. We pray for each one of us here today on this meeting. We pray for this state and the country and all the people who have been affected by the virus. We pray that they will be comforted and we'll soon be over this and get back to normal. Father, we ask this in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Okay. We're ready to go ahead and get this meeting started. This is January 4th, 2021 already. So if the clerk will please call the roll.
Squire Brewer, Squire Brewer,
Squire Brewer, evidently your mic is not working.
I can't hear anybody.
We can't hear you. Now we can.
Squire Mike Moody,
Present.
Squire Beaverson,
Here.
Rich Riley,
Here.
Squire Travis,
Here.
Squire Jerry Moody.
Present.
We've got everybody here and we're ready to get going. The first item of business will be approval of minutes from a prior court meeting.
Jim makes that motion.
Got a motion by Squire Travis.
Second.
That was a reluctant second by Squire Beaverson. And any corrections that need to be noted?
This is Jim. I do have one on page 36. In Lynn's quarterly report for this coming year, fiscal year, it says at the top, the receipt starts at 1/1/21 and ends 1/1/21. I think it needs to be ending at 1/1/22. Is that correct?
No, that is, I believe it is the budget and not the quarterly report. We cannot change the headings on this report. It is the budget.
Right, on page 36, it says
Yeah.
Spencer County Quarterly Report.
Right.
Yeah, and there's about 4 pages of it, and each page says the same thing. So anyway,
Okay,
that's all I have.
thank you.
Any other corrections? If not, call the roll, please.
Squire Mike Moody,
Yes.
Squire Beaverson,
Yes.
Judge Riley,
Yes.
Squire Travis,
Yes.
Squire Jerry Moody,
Yes.
Squire Brewer.
Squire Brewer, evidently we're having a hard time hearing you. Squire Brewer? Well, I take it I'm not the only one who can't hear Squire Brewer. Yeah, he's signed back in. Here we go. We lost him evidently. Let's give him just a second to get.
Can anybody hear me?
There you are. Okay, we're taking the vote on approving the minutes.
I can't hear nobody.
Hello. Hello.
I can hear you now.
Okay, we're taking a roll call vote on approving the minutes. There was a motion by Squire Travis, seconded by Squire Beaverson. A question about the date on the budget for the clerk, and that would be for the upcoming calendar year. And that was it. So we're down to a roll call vote on approving the motion.
Okay.
You're it.
Yes.
Okay. Motion passes.
Sorry about that.
Okay, communications from Judge Executive. First of all, let me make a note that our treasurer, Doug Williams, is in attending the meeting in my office. So we'll get that out of the way. I always forget to say that. Happy New Year to everyone. We're, of course, embarking on to now 2021. Everybody I know is looking forward to a much happier new year. Got a couple of things I'd like to mention. The Washburn Lane Bridge replacement is about to get underway. I saw they had some equipment over there. They're ready to begin on that project. We had an issue with our animal control vehicle. And I want the equipment committee, Jerry, if you and Tim would take a look at that. You know, we're to the point where it really makes no sense to continue to put money into this vehicle. The latest problem was a front wheel bearing, which I had replaced, a rear end seal I had replaced. However, the module for the airbag system is very, very expensive, and I wanted you all to take a look at that and decide whether it's worth putting that kind of money into that vehicle. It's interesting that I look back on some previous notes. As you all know, I've given you all a list of what I thought were priorities back. It was dated back in December of 2018, just before you all took office, or right as you all were taking office. And there's a number of things on that list that still need to be taken care of. Fiscal Court meeting room video and audio system. I know Squire Beaverson is working on that. Carpet replacement or flooring replacement in the Fiscal Court meeting room is something that we still need to do. Got Randy trying to get us a quote on both carpet and a hard surface. Vehicle replacements. We've made some progress on vehicle replacement. The parks have done real well. We've got a plan in place for a new vehicle over at the recycle center as soon as we can get a truck in for the road department. Sheriff, we've done extremely well. My hats off to Squire Moody on Jerry Moody on helping get that done. We still need to look at a planning and zoning vehicle and, of course, animal shelter vehicle. The 911 dispatch funding issue we've not dealt with. Just looking down this list, there's many things that I'm not mentioning here, but economic development, I think that's pretty clear that we're not going to do anything in terms of economic development and funding a economic development initiative. We still, of course, need to continue monitoring the pension crisis and the impact on our budget. Ray Jewell ball field lighting. We've got a application in for phase 2 of that project. and quite a bit of other things, but we have accomplished quite a few things on this list. We've gotten our work ready certification. We've got our administrative code. That's a kind of a constant thing that magistrates may want to look at the administrative code. You all can make recommendations for changes for some odd reason in the month of June only, but I've told many of you, if you have something, I'll bring that forward at any time during the year. Courthouse expansion project, we're continuing to move forward on that. I can tell you that there is some land available that we should seriously consider purchasing. That's something for another day. Agri-Science Center, I continue to work on that, trying to secure some land for that. Of course, vehicle replacements we still need to work on. Let's see here. Disc golf facility, that's going to be hopefully remedied very soon, and that Tanglewood is going to, I believe, be the successful bidder. I won't presume that until Wednesday, but I think they are qualified to do that. And of course, we still need to work on the levy issue and many other things. So I do want to point out that there's been now an opinion issued by the Attorney General. This was an opinion that I requested, and I believe Ken, the county attorney, requested this opinion nearly 2 years ago to clarify the issue of court security officers under the sheriff's direction transporting prisoners, specifically newly arrested prisoners. The opinion came back that yes, indeed, court security officers are able to do that. So we're going to have to maybe rethink some things there as far as having deputy jailers and so forth when we may not need those. I know that they're already looking at another vehicle. HVAC system in the clerk's office, they're having an issue over there. I've had one of the requests was 5 space heaters under the counter over there for the clerks. I had Randy contact an electrician, and it's not advisable to put that much load on that circuit. Dwight Martin was over there, I think, this morning looking at it. So we'll continue to try to do something there. FEMA, we've got the Spears Drive project is complete. However, we're waiting on them to release our reimbursement for that work. And also we've got the East River Road Bridge project that's going on 3 years now. So the wheels of government unfortunately turn very slowly. Hopefully this year we'll be able to go ahead and get that East River Road Bridge underway. It's long overdue for that project to start. So with that, apologize for the lengthy discussion there. My office, of course, is open to any one of you. If you have any questions about these or any other issues, please let me know. With that, I'm going to move on to communication from citizens. Do we have anybody who would like to speak this morning? Evidently not, so we will move on to communications from and reports from members, other offices, and committees. The first up is zoning. Is Julie on yet? I don't see Julie. Ask Molly to call Julie and see if, I think she's got some second readings, but we're going to give her a call, but we'll go on. Is Chris, I do see Chris on here. Chris, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to give us an update on COVID.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Excuse me. we're continuing to see some increase in transports at EMS for COVID patients. A lot of that has to do with the nursing home residents. Opened a couple COVID wings at the nursing home. Update on the vaccine. I got with most of you guys, and we'd scheduled a date of, well, actually tomorrow, for the vaccine for first responders, government officials, and government employees. And last week, they changed that date on me. Tomorrow is now just first responders. They're supposed to get with me soon on the date for the government officials and government employees. I was told by the health department that it was above them, that Dr. Black, who is the state medical director, changed the way he wanted the rounds to go for like medical workers, first responders, the at-risk population. So he originally had the government officials and government employees in with the first responders and changed that. So hopefully I'll have a new date soon for you guys, but I don't have it at this time. Other than that, there's really no other update.
All right. Does anybody have any questions regarding COVID? If not, we're going to move on to the Safety Committee report. Squire Brewer.
I have nothing at this time.
All right. And we'll move on then to the Solid Waste Committee report. Squire Travis. Squire Travis, if you're muted, that's wrong.
Okay, all right. Karen over to recycling is requesting some additional help, either part-time or full-time. It's just her and Wayne now. And anyway, as she says, especially on the weekends, people are really using the recycling center since we don't have the recycling trailers out in the county. And she's just been bombarded with recycled material that they have to pack up and bail up and all that. So anyway, just to open the conversation up, if we can see if we could get either a part-time or a full-time position for her.
I think that's long overdue. We've cut way back on employees both there and over at the parks. At one time, as you all know, I tried to consolidate all that under one director, but there's no question that it's going to take this court to act to approve hiring. I would recommend hiring a full-time person over at parks. I'd recommend a full-time person at the recycle center. Having said that, I'll tell you just what's on my mind regarding the recycle center. And I have talked to Karen about this. My recommendation would be to try to not end recycling. We got to continue. We should continue with recycling. However, I'd like to shift some of the emphasis from recycling more to litter abatement. It's disgusting what we see along our roadways out there. So I think we could, some of the problem with recycling is these trailers at all these remote places, they become like dumpsters to people. And it's thank goodness, I guess if there's any positive from the COVID situation, we decided not to put those trailers out around the county, and people have to bring it to the recycle center. So it's eliminated part of the problem of people using those trailers for dumpsters. But I would highly recommend that this court consider hiring a full-time person at recycle center and a full-time person for the parks department. I still would like to consolidate both of those under one director, but that's going to be up to this court whether we do that or not. Anybody have any comments on that?
Judge, it wouldn't bother me to hire somebody full-time at the recycling, but at this time, I don't know that we need anybody at the parks department right now, maybe another month or two. But I would make a motion to advertise for hiring somebody at the recycling.
It sounds like a good motion to me. We're under communications and it's not unheard of to do that. So anybody like to second that motion?
Jim, second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. That's to hire a full-time person or advertise for a full-time person under the recycle center. Any comments?
This is Jim. I think probably whatever Wayne Redmond is making, I believe that would be the hourly rate that we should advertise.
Okay.
I
Any
can't
other
remember
comments?
what that rate is, but
Any other comments on the motion?
I'm not sure why you would want to hire somebody at a rate that coming in to somebody that's already been there for a couple of years, but we can do whatever you all want to do.
well, I don't know. I don't know if we set a rate for a new hire for recycling or not. So anyway, whatever, if we have, that would be what it is. I don't know if Wayne's ever gotten a raise since he's been there. So anyway, whatever.
Yeah, I know Wayne has gotten raises actually above what some other employees' pay rates were increased, but that's something that we're going to have to look at, particularly coming up in the budget, the upcoming budget is pay rates. We kind of set a bar somewhat over at the county clerk's office, and I think one of you had mentioned that before. It's something that other employees look at. I don't say, I don't argue against the clerk's pay rates over there. What it does is it sets the bar a little higher for all the other county employees. So we're having trouble right now, for example, I think finding somebody up the road department at the rate that we're willing to pay. And when you pay at the very bottom rate, you have to take what you get. So anyway, the motion is to look at hiring. I guess we can set that pay rate when we find someone. But the motion is to advertise to hire somebody full-time at the recycle center. If there's no other comments.
I do have one more comment, please.
Right.
On the, you speak of the litter abatement. Really, the litter abatement is, we get money from the state to pay for that program, and it really doesn't have anything to do with recycling. Recycling just handles it. So as far as money wise, it doesn't affect the recycling. And so I know, Judge, you highly recommend that we do what you said, but I would highly recommend we do the opposite of that and use that state money for litter pickup, which may be more often than what we need to be, right now. But go ahead and do that and leave the recycling the way it is.
Okay. This is
Judges,
a motion to hire a full-time person at the recycle center. Any other comments on that motion?
yes, Judge.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is this a position that is already available and budgeted, or is this a new position?
Well, it's a position we, as you know, scaled way back on, at one time, the recycle center had, I think, two full-time, at least one full-time and one part-time in addition to Karen. Okay. As well as two inmates from over Shelby County Jail. So if you look at staffing for the recycle center, and this is another reason why I've advocated consolidating that under one director, but recycling, we've got our quote parks people over there practically every day working in the recycle center, helping to take up the slack over there. It was a help when we did not have to have recycle people run out all over the county picking up these trailers and bringing them back with recyclables plus the garbage and sifting through the garbage and all that. So So yeah, I mean, at one time we had far more than just Karen and one full-time employee there. And
Is it a position that's in the budget?
as far as I know, it is not. Yeah, we have, as you know, Squire Beaverson, we've, I'm not sure how to really put this to be accurate on it, but we've done, because of the CARES money that we've been receiving, and I think you're seeing a part of that result. We didn't budget to buy a new telephone system, but because of the CARES Act money that we've received, we got the power cots, applied to have those reimbursed. Now we're going to roll that into hopefully a new telephone system, as well as we need to be talking about a new ambulance to replace Med 3, I believe it is. So a budget is a budget and can be amended or changed or altered. It's like I've said many times, I could budget to purchase a new car this year, and it's like, whoops, well, I didn't realize I was going to have to replace a roof, so we're not going to purchase the new car. We're going to put a new roof on the house. So, it's a budget is just that. It is a guess well in advance of actual events. So we have to be flexible, and I think we can be with this. So,
Judge, if I may,
yes.
as far as I can tell, looking at the budget, there is actually only one budgeted position in the recycling, and it just says recycling personnel.
Yeah, and that's going to need to be adjusted.
It does.
Okay, the question is, do we go about trying to hire another full-time person over at the recycle center? That was the motion. And if there's no other comments, go ahead and call the roll on the motion.
Squire Beaverson,
Not being an agenda item and not knowing how much it's going to cost, I'm a no.
Judge Riley,
Yes.
Squire Travis,
Yes.
Squire Jerry Moody,
No.
Squire Brewer,
Yes.
Squire Mike Moody.
No.
Okay, motion fails. We're going to move on. I see Julie is now on here. We're going to go back up to zoning readings and recommendations. Julie, you're on, but you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay. My apologies for being late to the meeting. So the only application I have today is a second reading, and that is the application of Earl Dwayne Goodlet requesting Ag 1 agricultural to Ag 2 agricultural and R3 residential. Tract 1 consisting of 1 acre and Tract 2 consisting of 5.23 acres located at 330 Donovan Hill Road. Commissioner Wheatley made a motion to rezone that application of Earl Dwayne Goodlet, requesting zone change from Ag 1 agricultural to R1 or R3 residential on Tract 1 consisting of 1 acre and Ag 1 agricultural to Ag 2 agricultural on Tract 2 consisting of 5.23 acres located at 330 Donovan Hill Road. The recommended land use map in the comprehensive plan recommends low density residential, and the change would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan. There was no one on Zoom to speak against the application. Commissioner Mudd seconded that motion. Motion carried.
This is Jerry. I believe that's in my district, isn't it?
I believe that it is.
Motion to approve recommendation of planning and zoning based on the facts and findings of the planning and zoning board.
We've got a motion.
Second, Mike Moody.
And we've got a second, Mike Moody. If there's no comments, call the roll.
Judge Riley,
Yes.
Squire Travis, Squire Travis,
You're muted, Jim.
Yes.
Squire Jerry Moody,
Yes.
Squire Brewer,
Yes.
Squire Mike Moody,
Yes.
Squire Beaverson.
Yes.
Motion passes. Julie, hang on just a second. I just want to make a note that something that I noticed in the meeting minutes, and I think it's important that that language, generally when the motion is made to approve a zoning change, maybe not always, but it seems like it's most always, the motion is made based on the recommendation and the finding of facts of the Planning and Zoning Commission. I think that's very important language. That's why it's always used when the motion is made. And I think that should be reflected in the minutes. So having said that, Julie, what else you got?
That's all I have for today.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All right. We'll move on then to the Veterans Committee report.
I do know that the Afghans and the blankets were delivered to Signature prior to Christmas, and that's all we have at this time.
Excellent. I think there's a Coast Guard flag that needs to be replaced, and we will continue to work on getting that done at the memorial on Main Street. We're going to move on to the Equipment Committee report. Squire Jerry Moody, I know you've got some other things coming up under new business, but or old business rather, but
I think everything's under new business, Judge.
okay. Telecommunications Committee, I know Squire Beaverson, you've been working on phone system and a new system over at the Fiscal Court meeting room. Give us an update.
The audio visual for the meeting room is being updated now and hope to have that at the next meeting. The also website and email hosting, we have been in communication with Sue. There are many options that are available other than what so far has been presented to the court. So we'll be researching options for the recommendation. And the least expensive is what's called having your site on a shared server. So that would be a virtual private server. And then most expensive is on a dedicated server because just that cost of that server. When it's a virtual private server, you're sharing the expense. You're sharing that expense with others. And let's see, as far as phone quotes go, there is an item on the agenda under new business. There are some potential additional quotes that are available, and also it's been noted that what we should do is also look at our existing model phone and see what type of see what the availability is of those. Maybe you all have already done that. I'd like to know what the model is of your desktop phones and be able to report back. And let's see, in implementing this new phone system, should that be what we do, be done in phases. And so one thing to consider is, let's say if EMS is the first one to get new phones, that frees up existing phones. But there again, I don't know if they use the same model phone as you all have in the courthouse. So
Okay.
anyway, got an item in new business.
We will continue to look forward to what you're coming up with on those issues. So anything else, any other reports from members, other offices, and committees. Okay, if not, I'd like to go back up to communications from Judge Executive, something that I had intended to pass on to you all. And, you know, we are halfway through this term, a 4-year term. So the way I see it, first of all, we've got about 18 months essentially to accomplish much of anything at all. We've got the balance of this budget year, which again, some of this is going to have to be amended and because of some events earlier in the budget year, but we've got the upcoming budget year, fiscal year. The last 6 months of this term, I think all of you realize that probably not a whole lot of anything is going to happen other than maintain our, our services and so forth. But we'll have a new administration coming in. I do want to publicly announce this morning that I will not be seeking re-election as county judge executive. So that may be good news for some and bad news for others, but I will not be seeking re-election. And so I want to give plenty of time to those folks that want to step up and serve in these positions. I'm not sure what your all's intentions are. I know you all voiced them to me periodically during the last couple of years, and I realize things change. So, but I think that the sooner that any of you make a decision, the better, because as you know, this is not an easy thing to. Hopefully, if you all were, I think, honest, it's not easy to really grasp everything that needs to be dealt with under fiscal court. So, but anyway, I won't continue on with that other than just wanted to make sure you all knew that I will not be seeking re-election. So we'll move on then to old business. And we've got the ordinance relating to the sale and consumption of alcohol. This is our second reading, and that is ordinance relating to alcohol sales.
Motion to approve.
We've got a motion to approve the second reading.
Barber, second.
All right. All right. Any comments, questions, concerns? If not, call the roll, please.
For Travis,
Yes.
for Gary Moody,
Yes.
for Brewer,
Yes.
for Mike Moody,
Yes.
for Beaverson,
Yes.
for Riley.
Yes. Motion passes, and we'll get that advertised. Next up is road equipment, and did have information. I'll let Squire Moody expand on this, but our loader, which has been kind of iffy for some time, finally bit the dust. And but I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Squire Moody to talk about road department equipment.
Okay, I've got several items. First item is F-350. We got 2 bids on it, one from a state contract and one from an individual Ford dealer. M. Shar's Auto Group out of Moorhead was a little over $2,000 cheaper. It'd be $35,605. I make a motion to go ahead and accept that bid. And to remind everyone, this money is not coming out of the general fund. This money is coming out of the road department. Just 2 separate things. So I make the motion to go ahead and accept that bid.
Barber, second.
Or Moody, could you tell me the name of that dealer again, please?
The M. Shart Auto Group,
Thank you.
Moorhead. Again, that price was $35,605.
Thank you.
Okay. we've got a motion and we've got a second.
I got a question for Jerry.
Okay, go right ahead.
Jerry, on the Tim Short quote, it doesn't say whether that's a dually or not. On the other one, it says it is a dually. Is it a dually?
Yes.
Okay.
It would be dual wheels, yes.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Call the roll on the motion.
Squire Jerry Moody,
Yes.
Squire Brewer,
Yes.
Squire Mike Moody,
Yes.
Squire Beaverson,
yes,
Judge Riley,
Yes.
Squire Travis.
Yes.
Motion passes, and this is going to be replacing the service vehicle that was totaled earlier or in the last quarter of last year. And but it's going to take a while to get this and to get it decked out for using it for pushing snow. So go ahead, Jerry. It's still you've got the.
Okay. The next thing is the snow plows and stuff for this truck. We're using the snow plows and stuff off the truck that the tree dropped on that the judge was referring to. And we got the bid from Edinger to install it on the new truck that we're getting. And it is $2,968.
I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Squire Brewer
Second, Jim.
and seconded by Jim Travis. Any questions, comments, or concerns? If not, call the roll.
Squire Brewer,
Yes.
Squire Mike Moody,
Yes.
Squire Beaverson,
yes,
Judge Riley,
Yes.
Squire Travis,
Yes.
Squire Jerry Moody.
Yes.
Motion passes. Squire Moody, you still have the floor.
Okay. This is referring to the track hole. And on the track hole, we've had it for 10 years. And the track needs some work done on it, rollers replaced and idlers and stuff. And we got a bid from Brandeis for $8,058 for parts. And I recommend to go ahead and do that. They're going to do the work themselves. That's just for parts, but we'll do the work in the county road garage, which will save thousands of dollars. And I make a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I make a motion to go ahead and accept that.
And to go ahead and purchase the parts needed to rebuild the track hole.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sounds like a good motion to me. Is there a second?
Squire Brewer, second.
Squire Brewer. Any comments, questions, or concerns? So we're going to purchase the motion is to approve purchasing the parts. And we will have, I think, Dale Spinks and probably Dakota from our road crew to work on installing those parts. So it will be an additional expense over the 8,000, but it still would be a pretty good overall cost to get that back in good condition. So if there's no other comments, questions, or concerns, call the roll, please.
Squire Mike Moody,
Yes.
Squire Beaverson,
yes,
Judge Riley,
Yes.
Squire Travis,
Yes.
Squire Jerry Moody,
Yes.
Squire Brewer.
Yes.
Motion passes and we'll get those parts ordered. Jerry, you
The
still
next
have the
thing-
floor because I believe you're going to talk about the loader.
Yes, sir. The loader is pretty well over with. Just to start with, it'd be $10,000 to $15,000 to tear it down to see what it needed. And I recommend not to do that. The other thing is the equipment rental to replace that. We had a couple bids, and the cheapest one was Equipment Store, and that is $22.50 a month for that loader. This loader primarily is used to load the cinders onto the trucks during snowstorms, and that'll be for each month will be $22.50 rental, and I recommend to approve that. A total of 3 months is $69.50. I recommend make a motion to go ahead and accept that and allow the road department to do that. And that'll give us 3 months where we can take our time and look in to reaching a decision on purchasing another loader. It's something that the road department don't want to, and the equipment committee does not want to make an emergency decision on this. And it would be better for us to go ahead and rent for 3 months, and that'll give us plenty of time to reach the right decision, we hope.
That should get us through the snow season. So we'll be able to do that. I think that's a wise thing, and you've made the motion to do that. Would anybody like to second the motion?
Jim seconds.
It's Jim Travis seconded. Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns?
I do. Hey, Jerry, on the old loader, as far as surplusing that, are we going to have to fix that just to be able to sell it, or are we going to sell it as is, as a piece of junk?
We're going to sell it as is, and I talked to Todd, and Todd did not make a decision on that yet. And so I respect his decision on waiting a couple meetings before we do that. I suggested go ahead and do it at this meeting, but he wanted to wait. So,
Okay, that's fine.
In my conversations with Todd, that I think we could have, or at least it was offered on a trade-in of getting around $20,000 for the old loader, but that was before the transmission went out. So it's going to be somewhat less than that, but all that will be ironed out. The motion here is to lease or temporarily lease a loader. Total for 3 months would be $6,950. So if there's no other comments, questions, or concerns, call the roll.
Judge, I do. I have a question.
Go ahead,
Comment.
Scarborough.
It is in my understanding also that if we lease this equipment and then we decide to buy this equipment from the company, that money will be go towards the new purchase. Is that correct, Jerry?
yes, it is. If we buy that particular loader,
Yeah. Okay.
they've got some. They can't sell them until they're a year old, and I looked at some of their year-old prices, and it's kind of like it's a little misleading on trade-in value, where they said, well, they kept saying, well, you know, if it was still okay, we'd give you 20,000. Everybody in the real business world knows that's a joke,
Yeah.
you know, so that's not quite as bad as it sounds.
Okay. All right. Once again, if there's no other comments, questions, or concerns, call the roll.
Can I ask which company this is being rented through for the motion, please?
Okay, that is with Equipment Share.
Thank you. Squire Beaverson,
Yes.
Judge Riley,
Yes.
Squire Travis,
Yes.
Squire Jerry Moody,
Yes,
Squire Brewer,
Yes.
Squire Mike Moody.
yes,
Okay, well, that'll keep us in business for the snow season, and that's a good thing. I will, as I mentioned in my judge's comments, I really would appreciate the equipment committee taking a serious look and fairly quick look at this animal control vehicle. We do need that replaced. So my recommendation may be a little more expensive than what you all have in mind, but my recommendation is to get them an animal control vehicle, not something that can be used as an animal control vehicle, but an actual vehicle that's designed for animal control. I think that's something that's going to be around for a good many years, and I'd like for you all to at least consider that. Anything
Judge?
else?
Judge,
Yes, go ahead.
how many dogs are we picking up a month?
I don't have that in front of me, but I'm looking out into the future as well. Jerry, we've had several incidents where, we've dealt with, fairly large number of dogs and cats and whatever the equipment committee recommends, that's okay. I'm just saying that, it would be better in the long run to have a vehicle that is set up as an animal control vehicle. But that's going to be up to you all to make that recommendation. So anything else? We're going to move on to the sheriff's salary cap. There's been, I'll just start off by saying that I was not initially very keen on what was requested at the 745. I thought that was a little bit too high. However, there has been some information that came out late on last Wednesday. Forwarded that information to you all this morning. I know you all probably have not had sufficient time to digest it, but there was always a question going back 2 years ago from the jailer who made the assertion that a court security officer under the sheriff's office could not legally transport a newly arrested prisoner, or what he termed as a fresh arrest, that had to be done by the jailer. So 2 years ago, I requested an opinion from the Attorney General. Then it was Attorney General Bashir. We've got a new Attorney General now, been in office a year. And so we finally were able, after 2 years, to get the opinion. And the opinion came back that yes, indeed, a court security officer can transport newly arrested prisoners. So I think this court really should strongly consider rethinking the situation with the jailer and the sheriff's court security folks. And, I don't believe that our county really needs at this point deputy jailers. We could go back to the way it was prior to the beginning of this administration. We opted to hire 2 deputy jailers and give them, supply them with the guns and a vehicle. And I think there's already some discussion about maybe another vehicle for them and all that. I don't think it's even necessary. That was all predicated on the fact that court security folks could not legally transport a newly arrested prisoner. And that's just not so, particularly according to the Attorney General's opinion that just came out on the 30th of December. So I think that's something that we're going to have to take a look at. But in light of all that, I think it would be appropriate to increase the salary cap. It's currently at 670,000. Well, I say currently, it was for the last calendar year, it was 670,000. And question is, do we approve the 745 or do we approve something in between? And I'd be more in favor of doing something in between, but I'll let you all talk about that. What, who wants to be recognized?
Jerry,
Judge, I'll,
Okay, Squire, Jerry Moody, I think you mentioned something first, so.
the first responsibility of the magistrate is public safety. And I realize we're getting it, but before we vote on anything, we need to know change. Are we gonna get rid of the sheriff? I'm sorry, the deputy jailers. It says they only need one vehicle there. And then I'm confused. I don't have enough information to make a decision on till we reach a decision on what we're going to do. And it don't seem like to me that we have reached that decision yet on what we're going to do. So why are we voting on it until we make up our mind what we're going to do?
We're required by the statute, Squire Moody, to set the deputy salary cap for both fee offices. That would be the county clerk and the sheriff by January 15th. So we do need to set that salary cap for the sheriff. The question is, where do we set it? And I think whatever we set can always be looked at and changed if need be, but that's why we're looking at this. Whether we're not making a decision on getting rid of the deputy jailers, although my recommendation would be to do that. Why have deputy jailers that are doing a job that our current court security folks can do? It's just when we came into office in this administration, it was alleged that was not allowed, but it is allowed, as we found out 2 years later. So that changes the perspective on things. Maybe, at least it does for me. I always felt like, based on reading the statute, that it was fine to have court security people doing that, but the court decided otherwise and followed the direction of the jailer. And now that information turns out to be reversed by the Attorney General's opinion. So Squire Brewer, go ahead.
I just going back and doing some research since January of last year. We have spent approximately $232,000 on vehicles and equipment for the sheriff's department. We've surplused some equipment, and I'm going to guesstimate that to be about $20,000. I would just like to think that by spending that amount of money then and trying to raise his salary $75,000 is a far stretch. I think that we could do the county a little better by keeping that a little bit lower myself.
This is Jim. I've got.
Go ahead, Jim. You've got the floor.
Yes. Can we say if we keep the salary cap at the same level as this past year at 670, and then in the next 3 months or so, whatever the court decides to get rid of 2 deputies and transfer that salaries over to the sheriff's department and redo that salary cap later on after we've got more information from the deputies?
Anything's possible.
Judge?
I make a motion that that's exactly what we do.
Well, would you allow a little discussion before you make that motion, Squire Beaverson, or do you want that motion to stand?
Oh, we can continue the discussion.
Okay. I think somebody was trying to say something there.
I was just going to say, finish up, Judge. What we had budgeted for the 2 deputies was only $12,000 in the budget, anyways. The 2 jailer deputies.
Okay. I'll say this. Let me say this first. I know when I first came into office in 2015, the sheriff's deputy salary cap was at $780,000. I asked for that to be reduced, and there was a huge 4-year budget battle, it seemed like, over all that. I agree with Squire Jerry Moody that our highest responsibility is protection of the people and their property. And so I want a fully functional and responsive sheriff's office. But I want to be consistent as well. I mean, I opposed I thought it was a fairly significant, to say the least, increase in the salary cap that we just approved for the county clerk. And again, this is not that I oppose paying county clerks what they're being paid. It's just, it sets the bar. And this is what I know that the sheriff wants to do, this is to maintain good people. And we're facing that at the road department now. We're having a hard time finding good people at the pay rates. $14 an hour is just not adequate up at the road department. So the sheriff's concern is that he wants to make sure that his folks are paid a fair wage. And I think that it is going to warrant an increase. I'm just not prepared to authorize or to approve 745. And again, this is something that we can always come back and revisit, but I'm not prepared to approve 670. I think it needs to be higher than that, particularly in anticipation of the potential that he's going to be transporting newly arrested prisoners. So somebody wanted to speak, and I'm
Sheriff Herndon, are you hearing me?
oh, Sheriff Herndon. Yes, go ahead.
This is my thinking on this whole thing. I'll do whatever y'all want to do. I mean, this isn't a big heartburn or anything. But I think as far as on this jailers thing, the way I read the regulation is Fiscal Court is the one that comes up with the transportation plan. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What I would like to see y'all do, and do whatever you like, but if there would be a committee set up with maybe 2 magistrates, myself, court security and transportation supervisor, and the jailer, to sit down and pound out that plan. And like you said, we can adjust this budget at any time. Like I told the judge the other day, it's hard for me to sit here and say, this is what I'm going to spend next year, because this was not a normal year. It was just a year that I just can't put my finger on. I think if it had been a normal year, normal arrests, normal people working and everything, I would have been very, very close. If I hadn't had to get, I may have even had to get a raise to make it through the year, keep everybody working. I've got a new deputy sergeant that's starting today. That's the last person I intend to hire to my administration, unless somebody quits or leaves or whatever. That's the last position I plan on filling. You know, so we're getting very close to where I would love to be, and you know, as long as y'all are willing to stand behind me, and hey, if we need to bump it up a little bit more in the year, I trust you to just, you know, we'll keep a close eye on it. But I just can't use last year as a goalpost as to what I can expect this year. And I don't think any of us know what we can expect the rest of this year, this new year, because we've still not really walked out of the woods yet. So my thinking was I wanted to make sure that there was enough money in there to get me through. But as long as y'all can step up when and if that time comes that I need a little more money, then help me with that. And then, you know, I think the jailer needs to have input on this transportation plan, because we're changing his whole thing. And I think it's only fair that he is an elected official and he needs to have an input. And if I'm taking it over, I need to have an input. And then I want my court security and transportation supervisor to have an input. We may hire one of those deputies. We might hire both of them. I really haven't got to go through all of my court security people and talk to them. Would you be willing to? I've got some older guys, a few females that I don't think want to transport at night. You know, I would love to see the jailer be able to transport any and all day transports, and then maybe we do the rest, and he, you know, or come up with a schedule of, you know, everybody equally getting out there and hauling prisoners. You know, I don't know what the correct number for the sheriff to to haul a month. I don't think there's any way we can put a number on that and be sure what it's going to be. And this has just been a wild, crazy year that's so unpredictable. And I don't think we've gotten to the other side of that. So y'all do whatever you need to do, what y'all feel comfortable doing. I'm fully behind you. I'm looking at and hoping, and this is what I'm hoping, that when I get all my new vehicles outfitted and in the county, I'm gonna be able to turn 2 trucks over to y'all, do with whatever you want to. I did sell a Crown Vic at Jules auction this past Saturday. I wanted to sell a Charger, but I just don't have them other vehicles back yet to where I could, basically I wouldn't have a spare vehicle. And when you're running 8 and 10 vehicles, you just about have to have a spare sitting to pick up the slack. So I think we've made great strides, we've done good things. Me and the jailer have worked together fine. I've given him guns, uniforms, vehicles, and anything else, and we'll continue to work together. So y'all, if you could set up a committee to where maybe we can meet and try to come up with some ideas of how this transportation plan is, and then bring it back to fiscal court, and then let them vote on, yes, this is the plan we want. I think that'd be a good idea, but y'all proceed how you want to, and I'll support you.
Well, appreciate your comments. I'll just add this. First of all, it has been a pleasure working with you, Sheriff Herndon. The cooperation that you've exhibit and, getting, I know the radio system, heard an example of that over the weekend of how valuable that was in getting that radio system changed. You've done well as far as getting vehicles. Moody's been a big help on that. And we're not going to decide today what we're going to do on a transportation plan, although I do want to pull that out because we have a transportation plan or a transport plan in place. And I don't know that without reading that, I don't know that we even need to change it, because I believe that it was simply that the jailer would do transports with the assistance of the sheriff. But we'll need to take a look at that. The question before us this morning is, at what level do we set the deputy salary cap for the sheriff? Yeah, the other thing too, with what's in your packet, and I've mentioned this at the last minute, is Clef needs to be added to that. I want to make sure that the motion, whatever motion it is, that also include Clef, because that needs to be on that form and will be. I would be really happy with a funding level of, say, 700, if anybody would be so inclined to. It's kind of a compromise, I guess, between 745 and 670. I don't think 670 is going to be enough, but I think 745 is too much. I would be in favor of setting that salary cap at 700, and then revisit it if we need to later on in the calendar or fiscal year, either one.
Is that a motion that you made?
I'll be happy to make that motion. Yeah, that we set that level at 700.
Swear for a second.
We got a motion and we've got a second. It wasn't exactly a foot race to second that motion, so I'm not sure what we'll end up with, but I think we've discussed it fairly thoroughly. But if somebody would like the floor, I'd be happy to give it to them. Otherwise, if there's no comments, questions, or concerns.
Jim, I do have a comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Anyway, if we can come back and revisit this in the next 3 months, whether we put a committee together as Scott recommended or whatever, if that salary cap can be changed at any time and amended, then I don't know if we even have to set it at 700. I would suggest keeping it at the current level that it has been this past year, and then come back and revisit and see if the two deputies are going to go on Scott's salary cap. And if it is, then we can raise it to whatever we deem necessary at that point.
Okay, well, any other comments, questions, or concerns?
I think we need to do a cost analysis on it. Which way is going to be the cheapest? What is the race? I think those people get so much money just to pick a person up, a flat rate or something. Which way is going to be the cheapest?
It's always more cheap to pay them a flat rate rather than by the hour, because sometimes you get to the jail's busy, or a prisoner has to go to the hospital and you have to sit on them a while. Hourly will always cost more than the flat rate. Or more generally, it would always cost you less. I would be very happy if y'all did the 6 or the 700,000 and then we revisit it in 3 months.
Yeah, and that's the only question really before us this
We
morning.
need to get this approved, and we can put whatever number we want in there, and we can leave it where it's at if that's the way you want to do it. And then, like I said, we're gonna have to look at it. I mean, I was asking for the 75,000 for when this jailer stuff even come up. So it's I was hoping for more money. So, and that didn't have anything to do with the jailer thing. So.
All right, we've got a motion to set the salary cap at 700,000 for the sheriff. And again, we're not making a decision on transportation plan or who's going to transport newly arrested people or not. But if there's no other comments, go ahead and call the roll on the motion.
Riley,
I'm sorry.
Judge Riley,
Okay, yes.
for Travis,
Yes.
for Jerry Moody,
Reluctant, yes.
for Brewer,
Yes.
for Mike Moody,
Yes.
for Beaverson.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. We'll go ahead and set that salary cap at 700.
Thank you,
And we
gentlemen.
can revisit that if need be. So, I'm sorry, Square Beaverson, did you have something to add?
No, that was Sheriff Herndon. I just said.
Oh, I'm
thank you.
sorry. Repeat that.
I said, thank you. That's the way we need to work together and work things out. And I appreciate y'all's thoughts and cooperation, and we're going to make it work one way or the other.
Well, we appreciate what you're doing and what all your deputies are doing out there.
Well, it's been a little hairy here the last week or two. I promise.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I'll still be muted on here till the end of the meeting if you need anything else from me.
Okay. Next item is under new business. We've got emergency management services. There's a quote in there to redo the floors over at the EMS facility. Entertain a motion to go ahead and approve that, and let's get that done.
Jim will make the motion to approve that.
We've got a motion.
Second, Mike Moody.
Mike Moody seconds it. Any comments, questions, or concerns? If not, call the roll.
For Travis,
Yes.
for Jerry Moody,
Yes.
for Brewer,
Yes.
for Mike Moody,
Yes.
for Beaverson,
Yes.
Judge Riley.
Yes. Motion passes. We'll go ahead and get that underway. Next item is Simmertech sanitizers for the ambulances. As you all know, we did purchase some of the, I think it's Simmertech 700 units, the mobile units that have been used for sanitizing the ambulances, but it can only be used when the ambulance comes back in from a run. What we're proposing to purchase is it's a little smaller version of the Simmertech sanitizer units that actually stay on the ambulance, and that they, I believe, operate continuously. So that the question and the proposal is to go ahead and purchase 4 of the Simmertech. What is the, you all may be there already. Let me get to that page. These are Simmertech 500s, and they are permanently mounted in each ambulance and run continuously. So 4 of them would be $2,796, and entertain a motion to go ahead and purchase those Simmertech units for our ambulances.
Could I ask Chris a question before we do that?
Is Chris on here? I don't know if, yeah, Chris is on.
I'm here.
Yeah, the judge just said that, you know, we had the portable units that we purchased before. Recollect my memory, I can't recall when we did that and how much we spent on those units and what are we going to do with those units once the other ones are in place?
At the onset of COVID, we came down to needing to find a way to sanitize equipment. And the 2 options are vaporized hydrogen peroxide and UVC light. We opted to go with the Simmertech, which is a vaporized hydrogen peroxide. And what we got was 2 units, which were basically designed to be inside office buildings and the interiors of buildings. We bought this building's 4,000 square foot, so we bought 2 units, which are designed to cover 2,000 square foot apiece. And what we've been doing is once we transport a patient that we know is COVID positive, I've been carrying one of those larger units out and setting in the back of the ambulance and letting it run for a little while. I believe we paid right around $3,500 for the pair of the units at that time.
Okay, that answered my question. So we'll still be able to use those 2 in the office area.
Yeah, we run those constant in the office.
Yeah, okay.
And these units are just designed, each ambulance has some 110 outlets in each ambulance that run when the ambulance is on or the inverter's on or when they're plugged into Shoreline when they're in the garage. So these units will run constantly inside the ambulances pretty much, constantly disinfecting the ambulance with that vaporized hydrogen peroxide. And just to go back, we opted for the hydrogen peroxide over the UVC light because it was a little more cost effective. And the UVC light casts shadows, so you have to get in the med unit and move the UVC light from place to place. But 1 UVC light was the price of 2 of those larger Simmertech units at the time. So this vaporized hydrogen peroxide gets into all the hard surfaces, gets in all the cracks and crevices because it's just filling the air with the hydrogen peroxide.
Okay, thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to go ahead and purchase these 4 units.
Jim, make a motion to purchase those 4 units at the quoted price of whatever it was there, 26 something.
$2,796.
$2,796.
Okay, we've got a motion, or $2,796. I'm not sure what I said, but it's $2,796. We've got a motion. Who wants to second that?
Second, Mike Moody.
We've got a second from Mike Moody.
I do have one other question.
All right.
Will the CARES money be able to take care of this cost?
Probably so, but we've already expended all of our allocation, I believe. We'll take a step, but eventually that well runs dry. So I believe we're at that point. But all right. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? If not, please.
Judge, I'd like
Oh, hold on a second. Squire Moody, I believe.
the chemical in these ambulances. And that state, what effect is that going to have on the EMTs and stuff? I mean, you know,
Uh, Squire Moody, that's it operates off of vaporized hydrogen peroxide. It's kind of been one of the standards for a hospital grade cleaning for a long time. That again, like I said, the UVC light, they're the standards for like cleaning operating rooms, anything in a hospital or a medical environment that needs to be safely sanitized. It's probably less harmful than most hospital grade disinfectant cleaners, because it's just basically vaporizes hydrogen peroxide, puts it into the air, and disinfects surfaces and crevices.
Any other questions? Squire Beaverson, I believe you had a question.
No.
Okay. No other comments, questions, or concerns? Call the roll, please.
Or Jerry Moody,
yes.
or Brewer,
Yes.
or Mike Moody,
Yes.
or Beaverson,
Yes.
Jeff Riley,
Yes.
or Travis.
Yes.
Motion passes. We'll go ahead and get those ordered.
Thank you,
Would
John.
anybody care for about a 4-minute break?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, we're going to take a 4-minute break. It is 10:21. Everybody be back at 10:25. Okay, we're ready to get going again. We got everybody back? Squire Beaverson, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
See Mike. Jim is just coming back, and Tim,
I'm here.
you're there, and who else are we missing? Ken, are you with us? And Lynn?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think we're ready to get going again. Next item on the agenda is Telecommunications Committee. Squire Beaverson, you've been working hard on this.
Okay, at this point, what we have is AT&T has sent a proposal for $19,358 in monthly recurring costs that are $460. Matrix came in at $17,851, and their monthly recurring is $1,209.70. I believe either one of these is far greater or is a lot less than what we're currently paying as far as monthly recurring costs. I would like to see Advanced Global still come in. Unfortunately, what they did, they sent a proposal that was itemized, and it did not have any pricing with it. I suspect they just sent the wrong quote or the wrong file, and maybe it was a working file that they sent. It's been 2 holidays since we last met, and I'd really like the opportunity to get more information from Advanced Global. And also, like I mentioned before, it would be good to have what our current model phones are so that we can see what the availability is of them in the used market, whether it's eBay or Amazon or some other place. In the event that we don't do this, we do need to know where we can get a phone, because on the new market, they don't exist, is what I'm being told. And also somebody that can actually program the phone, because that would be a necessary step as well when it's installed. What question for you, Judge, is CARES money, is that still on the table as far as paying for the phone system?
As far as I know, yeah, it's not, wouldn't be covered under CARES, but what we did is, we put in a claim for CARES money, and part of that was to purchase the power cots for EMS. We then, once we purchased the power cots and paid for them, we then put in another claim to be reimbursed for the power cots. And I know what was discussed, and it sounded like a good plan to me, is to roll the power cots into a new ambulance and a new phone system. So it sounded reasonable to me, but the phone system, neither the phone system or the new ambulance would qualify under the CARES Act, but we've already expended our allocation. So it doesn't make a difference. It's just the fact that we've got the money there.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear on that.
Yeah.
And the court's other option is to do nothing at this time and roll it into the renovation of the courthouse.
Okay, that's quite a few years off, but
it is. But
we're going to need to build some reserves for that. I suspect most of that's going to fall on the new court, but yeah.
And if you read the cover letter, neither of the two that did send in a proposal, there would be some additional costs, although AT&T seemed like they understood that they would be using whatever is existing, and it would mostly be just the existing infrastructure, meaning the wiring and conduit, what have you. Matrix Matrix sent in their bid and explicitly said that this did not include conduit and raceways and firewalls, anything else. So I had to go back and ask AT&T if theirs was included in anything else, and they said it did not, but they went under the assumption that they would be using whatever's already at the courthouse for the most part, unless there's actually something they absolutely could not use.
Couple of things. I believe it was probably 2 or 3 years ago, Karen was able to find somebody that could actually program. It's fewer and fewer people that can even program these old systems. There was a remark about acquiring phones, and they said, well, you might be able to find one of those in a museum somewhere. They're that antiquated. So I don't think that is an option to even, well, I mean, we may be stuck with using our phones until I just don't want to get to the point where our phones are so far out of whack. Now, what my impression was that the new phone system would be internet based. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. So there shouldn't really be a lot of hard wiring as long as you've got internet connection.
Well, you got to have that's what they're talking about. You have a hard wire going to your desk.
For computer, for your
Cat 5. Yeah.
So as long as you've got, and this is what I saw as an advantage to going ahead and doing this. Initially, back a couple of years ago, I thought, well, maybe the best time to upgrade our phone system is when we renovate our courthouse, but that's not the case. The time to upgrade our phone system would be now. And then if any offices had to move, it's a very, very easy thing to do is to unplug your phone, plug it in somewhere else, and you're good to go. It's just a matter of moving your phone. As long as you've got internet access, you've got phone service. So that's, I'm not well versed on some of that stuff. That's why I rely on the experts and people that know more about it than I do. But it sounds to me like we're really not ready to even consider making a decision on this. Evidently there's just a slew of people that are capable of providing these phone systems. I just want to make sure that whatever we do, we've got the service, because obviously it's important. Same thing on our email service and web hosting. The service is going to be very, very important. So,
well, this gives the court an idea of a ballpark range on what we can expect to upgrade 3 buildings with these phone systems. And then all of them give us the capability to be able to forward calls to our personal cell phones.
So the upfront cost is the purchase of the phones.
Correct.
And providing any wiring or whatever that may be needed.
Correct.
But then you've got a pretty good savings on your monthly reoccurring cost moving to an internet-based phone.
That is correct.
Yeah. So, well, I just, again, I don't think we're at the point, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we're at the point where you'd like us to make a decision on this. You've got some more work to do on it. And golly, I tell you what, that's going to be fantastic if we can go on and get that done. Because there's better systems out there than what the antiquated system that we're using, and much more versatile, and particularly in the event of having to move offices potentially. I don't know what that's going to be when we renovate a courthouse, but just the fact that you don't have to do anything but unplug your phone, and as long as you've got internet access, you can plug that phone in at home and you're ready to go. So anyway, anything else? Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns on that issue? I don't think we're ready for a vote on it of any kind, but correct me if I'm wrong. All right, we're going to move on then. Did you have anything else, Brett?
No, sir.
Okay. So the next item is review and approval of expenditures, purchases, invoices, and transfers. I know it's always a foot race to do that, but I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we pay the bills, do the transfers.
We've got a motion.
Chirp, 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 chirp.
Yeah, you know,
This is Jerry.
go ahead.
I second the motion.
Okay, it's Jerry Moody.
Correct.
We've got a motion and we've got a second. And that's to approve the expenditures, purchases, invoices, and transfers. Any comments, questions, or concerns? If not, call the roll, please.
Barb Brewer,
Yes.
or Mike Moody,
Yes.
or Beaverson,
Yes.
Riley,
Yes.
or Travis,
Yes.
or Jerry Moody.
Yes.
Motion passes, and hearing all those crickets, and that happens from time to time, it's unfortunate. I don't know, probably all of us have been fans over the years of Jeopardy and, losing Alex Trebek, but that music is what I always want to play when we get into situations like that. So anyway, I'll entertain a motion unless there's anything else to come before the court. To entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Was that Squire Brewer?
It's Jerry, I think.
I'll second.
Squire Brewer made the motion and Squire Beaverson seconded. And any discussion, comments, questions, concern? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Hearing none, we are now adjourned. Thank you all very much.